I said no and broke up with him, so he started stalking me to try and win me back. I was on a run yesterday when I noticed an SUV that was following me. I pulled out my phone to text my sister. But as I was typing, someone jumped out of the SUV and grabbed me. I tried resisting and even clawed at their eyes, but I was eventually pulled into the car. The three masked guys in the back tied my wrists behind my back, gagged me to stop screaming, and put a bag over my head. I tried kicking them, but they even tied my ankles together. They kept telling me to calm down, but I was resisting so much they pinned me down on the van floor and kept me like that. I don't know how long I was in that car, but I kept crying and begging them to let me go. I even peed myself in fear, but I don't think they noticed. We eventually arrived at some house and they pulled me out of the car and dragged me inside. They then unbounded my arms and legs, took the gag off, and told me to stand up. I was still crying and begged them not to unalive me. But one of them yelled, "Stand up, Beach." I did as asked, and they slowly took the bag off of my head. When I could finally see, I realized that this was all some sick prank. I was standing in front of my boyfriend, who was on his knees, holding a small box with an engagement ring, and behind him balloons spelling the words, "Will you marry me?" My heart raced. I felt a mix of shock and confusion. The fear that had enveloped me moments ago was quickly replaced by disbelief. The masked men were laughing, their cruel smiles visible under the dim light. I looked at my boyfriend Alex and saw him grinning, proud of his clever plan. "Alex, what is this?" I shouted, my voice shaking with emotion. "Surprise, I wanted it to be memorable," he said, still kneeling. Memorable, I had just been abducted. My heart felt heavy, and I couldn't process the chaos of emotions swirling within me. I was still trembling, my mind replaying the horrifying moments in the van. How could he think this was funny? How could he think this was a good idea? "Is this a joke?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I could feel tears streaming down my face again, but I couldn't tell if they were from anger or sadness. Alex's smile faltered for a moment. "It was supposed to be romantic. I thought you would love it." Love it? I couldn't understand how he could think scaring someone half to death was romantic. My heart ached, and I wanted to scream, but all that came out was a strangled sob. The masked men shifted, still chuckling among themselves, and I felt their eyes on me. I hated them. I hated Alex for thinking this was okay. I felt so alone in that moment, trapped in a nightmare of laughter and balloons. "Just take the ring and say yes, and it will all be over." One of the masked guys said, stepping closer. I recoiled, the fear from earlier flooding back. "Get away from me," I shouted, my voice stronger now. Alex rose to his feet, looking at me with an expression that mixed confusion and frustration. "Please just say yes. I went through all this trouble for you." Trouble? I thought about what I had just been through. My heart felt heavy as I looked at the ring in the box. It was beautiful. But how could I accept something so precious after this terrifying experience? I glanced around the room at the cheerful decorations and the bright balloons. It was supposed to be a moment of joy, but all I felt was betrayal. The tension was thick, and I knew I had to make a choice. "Did you even think about how I would feel?" I asked, my voice breaking again. "This is not love." Alex's smile faded and the room fell silent. The laughter from the masked men stopped and the air felt heavy with tension. "I just wanted to surprise you. I thought you would be happy." "Happiness does not come from fear," I replied, feeling stronger with each word. "You scared me, Alex. You hurt me. How can I say yes after this?" The room was still, and the laughter from the masked men turned into whispers. They exchanged glances, clearly unsure of what to do next. I could see the doubt in Alex's eyes. "Please just put the ring on," he urged, desperation creeping into his voice. I took a deep breath. "Number, I can't, not like this." The silence that followed felt heavy, like a storm about to break. I turned away from Alex, my heart pounding in my chest. I wanted to leave, to run out of this house, to escape this nightmare. "Let her go," one of the masked men said, his voice low and serious. Alex turned to them, looking bewildered. "What do you mean, let her go? This was the plan." "Plans change," the man replied. "You messed this up." The weight of those words hit me. This was not just a prank anymore. It was a real problem, a serious mistake. I stood there frozen as I processed what was happening. The other masked men stepped forward, their expressions shifting from amusement to annoyance. "You made her cry, dude. That's not how this works." They moved towards me, and I felt a wave of fear wash over me. I wanted to scream, to fight back, but I stood there paralyzed. Let's just get out of here. One of them said, shaking his head in disappointment. This was supposed to be fun. Now it's just awkward. I turned to Alex, hoping to see some sign of remorse in his. Instead, I found anger. You're ruining everything, he shouted at them, his voice rising. I planned this perfectly. Perfectly? You traumatized her. Another masked man shot back, good luck trying to marry her now. My heart sank even further. They were right. How could I ever trust Alex again? Without warning, one of the masked men grabbed my arm and I felt a surge of panic. Let's get her out of here. We don't need to be here anymore. Wait, no, this was supposed to be. My Alex cried out, desperation in his tone. I felt the tension in the room change, like a bubble about to burst. The masked men had taken control and I was caught in the middle of their argument. Stop. I want to leave, I shouted, feeling a rush of determination. Just hold on, okay? The man said, looking at me with a hint of understanding. We'll get you out, as they pulled me towards the door. I glanced back at Alex. He looked defeated, his shoulders slumping as he realized what he had done. I felt a mix of anger and sadness, but I knew I had to get out. I had to escape this twisted moment. The door swung open and I stumbled outside into the cool night air. It felt refreshing against my tear-stained face. The stars twinkled above me, and I took a deep breath, trying to calm the chaos inside me. Where are you taking me? I asked, my voice shaking. Just to safety, one of the masked men replied, we didn't want it to go this far. Part 6, A New Beginning. As we walked away from the house, I felt the fear slowly ebbing away, replaced by a sense of clarity. I had been through a horrifying experience, but I was still standing. I was still strong. When we reached a nearby park, the men stopped. They looked at me, and I could see the remorse in their eyes. We didn't mean for it to go this far. We thought it would be fun. We never wanted to hurt you. One of them said, I took a step back, still feeling the adrenaline coursing through my veins. You think this is fun? I asked, anger rising within me. You terrified me. This was not a game. I know, he replied, his voice earnest. We messed up and I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive us one day. I shook my head, trying to process everything. The world felt surreal. I can't forgive you. Not now. I understand, he said. But please know that we didn't want to hurt you. We just wanted to create a memorable moment for your boyfriend. I turned away, staring at the ground. You ruined everything. They stood there silent, realizing the weight of their actions. I took a not deep breath, trying to calm myself. I just want to go home, I said softly. Part 7, Facing the Truth. The men nodded, stepping back to give me space. We'll call you a ride, one of them said, pulling out his phone. I watched them, feeling the last remnants of fear fade away. They might have thought they were being funny, but I now understood how important it was to protect myself. As I waited, I reflected on what had just happened. Alex was not the person I thought he was. He had betrayed my trust in the worst way possible. I didn't know how to face him again, or if I ever wanted to. When my ride finally arrived, I climbed into the car and felt the weight of the world lift off my shoulders. I looked back at the men who stood watching me, regret etched on their faces. I couldn't shake off the anger I felt toward them, but I knew I had to let it go. As the car drove away, I turned my gaze to the window, watching the world pass by. I thought about my life before this night. I thought about my friends, my family, and my future. I knew I had to find my strength again, and I would. When I got home, I sat on my bed, still feeling the shock of what had happened. My phone buzzed with messages from Alex. I ignored them, focusing instead on the pain in my chest. I felt so betrayed. I remembered how excited I had been to plan our future together. Now everything felt tainted. How could I ever look at him the same way again? The next morning, I woke up feeling a little stronger. I decided to take a walk to clear my head. As I strolled through the neighborhood, I thought about what I wanted for my future. I wanted a partner who would support me and respect me. I wanted someone who would stand by me during the good and bad times, someone who would never scare me or make me feel trapped. I returned home and took a deep breath. I had to confront Alex. I had to tell him how I felt, and I had to end asking to meet. When he arrived, I could see the worry in his eyes. I'm so glad to see you, he said, stepping closer. I held up my hand to stop him. No, Alex, we need to talk. His face fell, and I felt a wave of sadness. What's wrong? You didn't like the proposal? Proposal? I asked, incredulous. You scared me half to death. That was not a proposal. It was a nightmare. I didn't mean to hurt you. He pleaded, desperation in his voice. I just wanted to surprise you. Surprise me by kidnapping me? How could you think that was okay? I felt anger bubbling inside me. You put me through hell. That is not love. His eyes widened in shock, and I could see he was beginning to understand the weight of his actions. I thought you would see the humor in it later. There is nothing funny about what happened, I replied, my voice steady. I can't be with someone who thinks this is okay. I can't marry someone who would do this to me. He opened his mouth to protest, but I held up my hand again. No, Alex, it's over. I need to put myself first. As I turned to leave, I felt a strange sense of relief wash over me. I had finally taken a stand for myself. I had chosen my own happiness over fear. The days that followed were hard, but I was determined to move forward. I spent time with friends and family, surrounding myself with love and support. Alex took the breakup hard. He begged me to reconsider, calling and texting at all hours. I felt my phone buzz constantly, but I never answered. Instead, I focused on myself and surrounded myself with supportive friends and family. Days turned into weeks, and as time passed, Alex's attempts to contact me became more desperate. He would show up at my favorite cafe looking lost and forlorn. Sometimes I could see him, waiting outside my apartment, his face a mixture of hope and despair. One afternoon, I was hanging out with my best friend Lisa. We were at a local park enjoying the sunshine and fresh air when I spotted Alex walking by. My stomach twisted in knots and I quickly turned my head. What's wrong, Lisa? Asked, noticing my reaction. It's just Alex, I replied, trying to sound casual, but my voice betrayed me. Ugh, that guy, why won't he just get the hint? She said, rolling her eyes. You deserve better than this. I know, but it's just hard. I used to love him. I don't want to be cruel. Just then I saw Alex cross the street toward us, his expression determined. Hey, can we? He called out, his voice filled with urgency. I felt a surge of anxiety. I looked to Lisa for help, but she crossed her arms, ready to defend me if needed. No, Alex, I'm not interested, I said firmly, but he didn't back down. Please just give me 5 minutes. I promise I'll explain. Explain what I asked, my voice rising. How you thought kidnapping me was a good idea. I was a idiot, he exclaimed. I thought it would be a funny way to propose. I never meant to hurt you. That's the problem, Alex. You thought, and that got me into a situation I'll never forget. I shot back, trying to remain strong. Can you at least let me apologize? He pleaded. I've been a jerk. I just realize that now. Before I could respond, Lisa chimed in. You've already apologized, Alex. It's time to move on. Please just listen to me. I've changed, he insisted, his eyes desperate. I've been doing everything I can to show you. I'm sorry. Just give me a chance to prove it. Why should I? I snapped, my frustration boiling over. Because I love you, he shouted, the words hanging in the air like a heavy weight. I turned away, my heart aching. I didn't respond. I didn't know how to respond. I simply walked away with Lisa, leaving Alex standing there, lost and defeated. As the weeks continued, Alex became relentless. He began showing up at places I frequented, even getting my friends to talk to me on his behalf. His friends would text me, pressuring me to forgive him. He's really sorry, they would say. You should give him another chance. I felt cornered. I didn't want to hurt him, but I also didn't want to go back to a relationship built on fear. One evening, Lisa and I went to a friend's party. As we entered, I immediately spotted Alex across the room laughing with his friends. My heart sank. Are you okay? Lisa asked, noticing my unease. No, I'm not okay, I admitted. I can't keep running into him like this. As if, on cue, Alex approached us, his eyes lighting up when he saw me. Hey, can I talk to you? He asked, his voice softening. Not now, Alex, not here, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. Please, just 5 minutes, he pleaded again. I looked at Lisa, who gave me an encouraging nod. Fine, I relented, feeling a mixture of dread and curiosity. Alex led me outside, away from the noise of the bike party. I've been thinking a lot. He started, his voice earnest. I know I messed up. I want to show you I'm serious about changing. Changing how? I asked, skeptical. I've been planning some crazy things to prove I'm committed, he said, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. Crazy? What do you mean? I felt a shiver run down my spine. I'm going to do something big. I've got a whole plan, he said, excitement bubbling in his tone. Alex, I don't want any part of your plans. I just want to be left. Alone, I insisted, but he didn't listen. Over the next few days, he began executing his crazy ideas. First, he organized a flash mob outside my apartment, dancing and singing a song about love and apologies. I stood at my window, mortified, watching my neighbors cheer him on while I felt my face burn with embarrassment. The next day, I received a bouquet of flowers at work, each one accompanied by a note detailing all the things he loved about me. My coworkers snickered, but I felt trapped in a whirlwind of emotions. The following weekend, he arranged a massive picnic in the park, complete with a blanket, candles, and enough food to feed an army. When I arrived, I saw a crowd gathered, all of them watching him make a fool of himself, trying to win me back. I felt a mixture of anger and pity. I appreciated the effort, but it only reminded me of the fear he had instilled in me. I didn't want to be part of his performance. My friends were split on the beef. Some thought Alex's attempts were charming, while others believed I should stand my ground. Lisa remained my biggest supporter, constantly reminding me of what had happened and why I needed to stay firm in my decision. You don't owe him anything, she would say. Just because he's trying to win you back doesn't mean you have to fall for it. But as time went on, I felt the pressure mounting. Alex's friends began to intervene as well. They reached out to me, urging me to consider giving him another chance. He's really changed, one of them said. He's just trying to make things right. Maybe you should just talk to him one more time. Another suggested their words weighed on me, causing me to doubt my own feelings. Was I being too harsh? I decided to talk to my mom, hoping for her wisdom. When I shared my concerns, she listened patiently. Honey, you have to trust your instincts, she advised. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't let anyone pressure you into a decision you're not ready for. Her words resonated deeply within me. I had to trust myself. I took a deep breath, determined to stick to my decision. Part 17, the final straw. As summer approached, Alex's antics only grew more outrageous. One day, he showed up at my workplace dressed as a clown, complete with oversized shoes and face paint. The entire office erupted in laughter, but I could only feel embarrassment. Is this really necessary? I asked, my voice barely concealing my frustration. I just wanted to make you smile, he said, beaming through his painted smile. Please, just give me one chance to prove I can be the guy you want. My heart ached for him, but I couldn't overlook the severity of his earlier actions. I turned to walk away, my stomach churning with mixed emotions. Then came the last straw. One night he decided to take it up a notch. He climbed up onto the roof of a local building, holding a giant banner that read, "I'm sorry, will you marry me?" He was shouting my name to the world, drawing attention from passersby and local news stations. I stood there, my heart racing, watching the chaos unfold. My phone rang nonstop with notifications from friends and family who had seen the stunt. This was too much. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my things and rushed outside, my heart pounding with anger. When I reached the building, I saw Alex perched on the edge of the top, his face beaming with excitement. Look, I did it! I'm serious about you, he shouted. Alex, get down from there, I yelled, panic rising in my chest. Just say yes, that's all I need to, he shouted back, ignoring my plea. Do you even hear yourself? I shouted, my voice rising. You're acting like a child. This isn't how love works. He paused, the smile fading from his face. What do you mean? I'm not going to say yes just because you put on a show. You need to understand how serious this is. I know, but I'm trying to show you I'm serious, he replied, his voice trembling. You think this is love? This is a nightmare. I cried, feeling tears well up. You've scared me. You've embarrassed me. You're not making me feel loved. You're pushing me away. The crowd below began to murmur, and I could see the confusion on their faces. Alex looked down, realizing how ridiculous he must seem. I just want you back, he said softly, vulnerability washing over him. I can't trust you. I admitted, my voice breaking. Not after everything, not after what you did. Alex's expression shifted, and for the first time I saw true understanding in his eyes. I didn't mean to hurt you. I thought I could make you see how much I love you. You're not showing love, Alex. You're trying to control me, I said, my heart heavy with the truth. He hung his head, the weight of my words settling between us. I don't know how to fix this, he whispered. Maybe you should start by listening to what I need. I replied, my voice steady despite the storm of emotions within me. Alex slowly climbed down from the roof, looking defeated. The crowd dispersed, their excitement fading as reality set in. I felt a sense of finality as he stood in front of me. His shoulders slumped. "I'm sorry for everything," he said quietly. "I thought if I did these big things, it would show you how much I care. I never wanted to hurt you. I know you didn't. But love isn't about grand gestures. It's about respect and trust," I replied. As he looked into my eyes, I could see a flicker of hope. "What can I do to earn that back?" I took a deep breath, weighing my words carefully. "It's not just about you. I need to heal. I need to figure out what I want. Right now, I want to be alone." He nodded slowly, a shadow of regret crossing his face. "I understand. I'll give you space." The next few months were a journey of rediscovery for me. I focused on myself, taking long runs and exploring new hobbies. I started a journal to express my feelings, pouring my heart out onto the pages. Each entry was a step toward healing. I also sought therapy, hoping to work through the trauma Alex had caused. It was a safe space for me to explore my emotions, and I began to understand the importance of self-love and self-worth. One day, I stumbled upon an art class and decided to join. Painting became a new form of therapy for me. Each stroke of the brush allowed me to release pent-up. I created beautiful pieces that reflected my journey, my fears, and my triumphs. One sunny afternoon, while attending a local art exhibition, I met someone new. His name was Noah, and he had a warm smile that lit up the room. We struck up a conversation about art, and I felt an instant connection. Noah was kind, thoughtful, and most importantly, he listened. He shared his own experiences, and I found comfort in our mutual understanding of life's challenges. As the weeks went by, we began to spend more time together. We explored galleries, attended events, and shared our thoughts on life and love. I felt a sense of safety with him that I hadn't felt in a long time. One evening, while out with Noah, I received a text from Alex. "Can we talk? I need to see you," it read. I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me. Noah noticed my unease and asked what was wrong. "It's just Alex," I replied, looking down at my phone. "He wants to talk. Do you want to?" Noah asked, his tone calm and supportive. "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me feels like I should confront, but I don't want to go backward. Only do it if you feel ready. You deserve to take your time," he reassured me. I decided to meet Alex, wanting to put closure to our tumultuous relationship. When we sat down at a quiet cafe, I could see the worry etched on his face. "I've been working on myself," he said, looking earnest. "I've realized that I need to focus on my own issues before I can even think about being with you." "I'm glad to hear that," I replied, cautiously. "I've been talking to a therapist too. I want to learn how to be better," he continued. "I understand if you never want to see me again, but I just wanted to say I'm truly sorry." His sincerity hit me, and for a moment I felt a flicker of compassion. "Thank you for apologizing." "It means a lot," I said softly. "But I also understand that I can't control how you feel. I just hope you find happiness, even if it's without me," he added, his voice thick with emotion. I took a deep breath, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. "I appreciate that, Alex. I want you to find happiness too. I just think we need to move on." He nodded, a bittersweet smile forming on his lips. "Yeah, I guess we do." After my conversation with Alex, I felt lighter. I realized that I could forgive him without reopening old wounds. I was ready to embrace my new life, free from the shadows of the past. Noah and I grew closer, and our relationship blossomed. He made me feel cherished and respected. I felt safe to be myself around him, and I knew this was a different kind of. As summer turned to fall, I reflected on how far I had come. I was no longer defined by fear. I was a survivor, a fighter. Each day was a new opportunity, and I was excited for the future.